Fair use, fair use, fair use. Let me go ahead and preface this before I get along with this. So, the reason why I am commenting on this video is because my videos now, I want to concentrate on how things that happen out in the community affect the youth. Okay. And I'm an educator, and I want to talk from a perspective of how I think a lot of times people who don't either deal with youth or don't have a certain perspective don't understand how it can affect young people and how things are. And how a lot of times what you see in social media and media, the people that are there, they're totally self-driven. You have some people think that they're doing stuff that will positively affect the community, but I think it is absolutely the opposite. Right now we have, I think it's Dr. Neal. And what's happening is he's explaining to El Guapo over on the right that he feels like the Manosphere or Negro Manosphere shouldn't include women in some of the things that they do. That may be in certain channels and especially for meetups.
Is that black men, we have a unique situation. And I said this and I'll say this again. We here, I grew up around women. I grew up around my mother, my aunts, my cousins. I grew up in a family of women. All right. I understood women, but before I left home. Okay. And I'm not the only black male who has had that experience. Okay. If you were raised without a father, if you weren't raised with a whole bunch of men, and I had men in my experience. But what I'm saying is that black males, black men in this country, America, we are inundated with the female perspective. We are inundated. And
I want to pause it right there. That is true. And that is also why I think a lot of people may not understand that even as a educator, a lot of times it can be harder for students sometimes to, if this their first experience, to have a black teacher. Black male teacher, I should say, because they may not within their experience have had a black male that was in any respectable position, either as a father in their home or a real leader, you know? So within my career, I've seen it where young ladies were frustrated or angry off the top just soon as I start talking, because especially when I was younger, because I reminded them of their mother's boyfriend. Or the young males, they're not used to any males that had any leadership role. It's just all about bucking. It's all like a struggle. I gotta try to jostle to be the alpha in a situation where no, you are a student or you are here to get something. You're here where you are not competing with somebody who's already earned a certain level of respect. You sit back and get what you can get from them.
black men need to have spaces where they can talk to themselves without constantly having to refer or defer to the female voice. Now, here's the thing. Since you brought up the white thing, infiltration.
So I want to go a little bit further.
In North Korea,
strength in interdependence than there is in independence. We're supposed to be leading our women. So if you feel that black women are infiltrating this space, this is going to sound really smug, and I don't mean it that way, but perhaps your position is not to lead. Because a leader understands.
Now, what is happening here? From my perspective, El Guapo whipped out his genitalia. That's exactly what he did. Hopefully people understand what's going on. What El Guapo is doing now is he's saying you're intimidated. You shouldn't be intimidated by women coming into space with all black men. because if you're if you're a real man, you should not be intimidated. I disagree because I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point. Black men have been in situations where black men can't even do. It's just like when Obama had Brothers Keeper program, and as soon as the program came out, there were black women complaining about there being a Brothers Keepers program that is excluding black women. And boom, there you go. And it's done. And what it has not allowed is especially young black men to see black men do their thing. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think El Guapo, the lead attorney, is pretty fair. But I think a lot of content creators they have a reason why they want the women here. And I understand it. It is a good reason. Financial. Women are used to spending money. Women spend money. Literally on this broadcast. You should go to this broadcast. It is called Is This the End of the Manosphere? It's that lead attorney. He is incredible. Let me tell you. I understand that. And that is true. But if we do not have spaces or at least some channels where there is not black women there, we will never know what black men actually think about anything. And what is happening is, again, El Guapo, he's probably, of course, financially, women are going to pay. They're going to pull out their purse and spend money. So I understand that.
The benefits and the shortfalls of every person underneath their command. Our women, not just black.
Now watch this. If you look on the bottom, it has Shelly Has. TLA, is your channel for the Manosphere only? Please let me know. Now that is kind of like a hint, like where I could imagine that for the lead attorney right now, it's like, oh boy, what is going on here? Because that's her pressing. She's pressing the issue like, hey, is this only for Deuce? Because, like, basically without being said, because, hey, I don't have to support. And there is more pressure already for black men to not have their own space.
Black women, all women are useful. And I'm going to tell you right now, well, that's not true. There are some worthless chicks out here. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you sit there and you isolate yourself, you're putting yourself, nature is a beast. Success leaves clues. When you isolate gene pools and stuff like that, it gets perverted. There has to be diversification. And I'm telling you, man,
that's true, but that's never a problem when we have like media that has been driven by our women for decades. And we have spaces where black women can talk and have their opinions over and over and over again, and it's no big deal. But again, I understand the sentiment. It's because ultimately, and it's a problem for me as somebody who's done some entrepreneurial things and understand where are the brothers at? They're not supporting. And what happens is El Guapo is probably like, hey, if I depend on you brothers, I'm not going to be able to make any money or anything. I have to depend on the sisters, because brothers, what they're going to do, and which is true, is brothers are going to probably backbite and snipe and hate on each other, which unfortunately this is literally where we're basically at right now in the conversation.
I get it. We've all gone through hurt and things like that, but there's not a woman that can come into my space that is going to dominate anything or infiltrate anything. It's not going to happen. So for those people that feel like that, fine. If you don't like the women in your space, send them my way and I'll lead them.
Boom. That was him. Like, he whipped it out and he just took a leak. That was him taking a leak. Now, this is the problem with that I have with El Guapo, especially with this particular position, because I like a lot of I've watched El Guapo and he's pretty good. This is my problem with his position right here and what he is missing, especially somebody that deals with young people. The problem is that black men have a problem working with each other exclusively. We always have black women here. Think about young black men. Part of the reason why they kill and fight each other so much is because they never been in a position where they're learned to just work with each other and resolve stuff. Okay, so for El Guapo, good. You're Big Daddy. Okay, you're Big Daddy. You know how to lead the women, and there's gonna be dudes that gonna come off like that and be like, "I got this." You know what I'm saying? If you got the swag, if you a leader, you can do this and doing that. You ain't gotta worry about this. What you do have to worry about is there are, and this is for young men, not for El Guapo, but metaphorically and when we're looking in situations, if we don't have these spaces and black men think that, okay, I'm going to be King Ding-a-ling over here or whatnot, we kill each other. We fight each other. We need time. We probably need 5-10 years to really work this thing out where black men are working with each other because we haven't been aided to work together and make things happen. If anything, it's always been dissent by outer groups that have their own agenda. Black women have agenda, and I don't mean it in a mean or negative way, but black women, their agenda is they want black men to do well, but only in the context that it works for them positively. Okay, so first they want to make sure that the things that they want are checked off. Now, after that, okay, y'all can do what y'all do, but we have what we want first. The outer community, if we talk about, let's say, the general American community, they say they want black men to do well, but that's in the context of their agenda. Their agenda may be, hey, we want to make sure you guys are still playing sports and doing whatever and buying the kind of clothing and spending money on games and yada, yada, yada. But after that, okay, yeah, you're good. And this is definitely what I'm saying to El Guapo or anybody that thinks like him. I get what you're saying. You may be able to have those women over in your channel, but far as for a good part of the manosphere, black men have to work stuff out. That way, young men can learn how to work stuff out and we can work alone. Because when you bring females in, there you go. There goes King Dingaling. King Dingaling is going to do stuff and be motivated a little bit because there are females watching. And there's going to be, and I'm talking about young people, more violence. There's going to be more argument because that testosterone, like look at El Guapo. Man, that testosterone is just flowing through him. Yeah, and all that swag and energy. You know what I'm saying? There's females watching, you know, because females are choosing. Whether we talking, you know, like for real, or we talking about they're choosing in the sense of, hey, I want to be up under El Guapo far as a content creator. Shout out to Sinful the Pete. Um, incredible content creator. I ain't into what he's into, but man, this dude he's an incredible content creator. Let me see what else we got here.
All right, shout out to El Guapo.
So Guapo just dropped the mic right there, and like I said, he whipped it out, took a piss, and you know what I'm saying, left it right there. I think that totally does not serve a purpose in what I think would help young black men. Young black men, yes, they need to be able to lead women. They need to be able to be in spaces with women. But kind of like Dr. Neal said, we have been in spaces with women all our lives. If you look, most black men are able to have women as leaders way before we can have men. Literally. We can't even, especially a black man, we are not even able to have a man as a leader. And what you get, unfortunately, is a preacher and a congregation full of women and maybe a couple of homeboys as deacons that y'all can divvy up what the spoils are. And that's my point, and especially to young men, and why I think it's important for young men to see a manosphere, or at least big sections of it, where there are no women involved. They can support, they can be in the background, but there are some channels where that just can't happen. And I especially mean that for like meetups.